Listen to this impressive story about an Arab born in Israel, in the city of Lod, who goes through a very difficult family history in his Arab family, and ends up converting to Judaism in Israel, going through Gaza for a few years. Listen, impressive. Now I start on a personal level. I studied in a yeshiva, in a Jewish study center. I studied Torah in the city of Jerusalem. There I saw a person who I don't remember having spoken with him, studying Torah, like any other student. It turned out that once I see an interview in which this guy is interviewed. And who turned out to be? Turned out to be an incredible character, an Arab born as an average Arab in Israel, living through horrifying things, which he told in the interview. I apologize for your sensitivity. I prefer not to detail, not to say also, in case there are children listening, but you should know very, very difficult things. And he, for having a personality of asking questions and saying what he thinks, he endured tremendous suffering and horrendous experiences, and he is expelled from his home. They throw him out of his house and send him to Gaza. In Gaza, he studies the Quran, Islam in a mosque like that, now in that mosque. That period also tells horrifying, horrendous things that happened to him. He was also kind of a black sheep in the mosque. Someone obviously brilliant at an intellectual level, very intelligent, who asked questions that were obviously not well accepted by the leaders of this mosque, and clearly punishments and terrible things. A horrible situation. And what did he hear? Hate for Jews and hate for everything. Heretic. What does heretic mean? Any person or group of people who are against Islam. What does it mean? If you are of left-wing political orientation, you are a heretic. Therefore, you are on the list to be eliminated by this extreme Islamist group. That is their goal, to eliminate all heretics and conquer the world and make the world Islamist according to their opinion. Now, in parentheses, I tell you that in Islam there are many discussions about who is the true Islamist. As you can see, there are Sunnis, Shiites, that is, for example, there are various currents of Islam that are against each other and can fight very violently. Therefore, you should know that also, at an internal level, in Islam, those who supposedly have the truth of what they think, the truth, also go against any heretic who does not think like them. But on their list of priorities, the Jews are first, and then surely the Catholics follow, and any kind of religion, heretic who does not go as in Islam, and any kind of social group, be they leftists or be they right-wing. If you are right-wing at a political level too, and you are not Islamist, you are on their list to be eliminated and annihilated in a very violent way by them. Know that this struggle, this war that is happening here in Israel, is a global war of ideas. Islam wants to conquer the world, that the world, as we said, be Islamist. And basically every heretic is on the list according to the priority list. To be eliminated and annihilated in a brutal and barbaric way, in a form of barbarism, that is, as we saw, what unfortunately with a lot of pain what happened in Israel is not an isolated story. They decide that every heretic has to go through annihilation and elimination. We should know that. And that's what he perceived, heard, and experienced in that mosque. And also another thing he told in the interviews, if there are children, girls, it's better they don't listen to this part. Anyway, I'm going to try not to go into too much detail, but these are hard things to hear. The topic of death, he experienced that the extreme Islamism in which he lived glorified death. Basically, the dream of many Arab children, in the context that he lived in Gaza, was to basically be a terrorist. A terrorist to annihilate people in the name of Islam, basically die in the name of Islam, and do horrendous things. That's like the dream of an average child. Obviously, here we are not talking about generalizations. We are not saying that every person is like this. But basically, at a cultural level, it is something average. It's not something exceptional. That's very important to know. It's not something exceptional. And many mothers promote this, many fathers promote this. It's not something that a revolutionary child or teenager wants to be a terrorist, but it's something very deeply rooted in Arab culture, in which being a terrorist, jihad, or basically with the names they give it, that is something very well accepted at a cultural and social level. It's not exceptional. It's the norm, obviously. In every norm there are exceptions. And there are good people and people who want good, of course, but let's know that it's the norm. And he tells that as an Arab who came out of that place, he lived as an Arab, as the norm. Basically, he was in a kind of elite in the Arab world, in which it was an elite that studied Islam. But from within, he clearly experienced the surrounding Arab reality. And the hatred towards Jews and the horrendous things against Jews and the Jews, God forbid the worst, and that he experienced it, and that's how he experienced it. Now they did a very horrendous thing in one of the actions on the issue of the exaltation of death and dying in honor of Islam and everything they say. They brought them to a cemetery, opened graves, and placed them inside. He finds in an interview that he had post-trauma from the smell and from that whole horrifying experience he lived through. He had post-traumatic stress from that horrifying experience he couldn't shake. Years and years and years suffering this, and that was the norm. He also said that two of his colleagues, the leaders in that mosque, doubting the ethics of these, I don't want to go into detail, they thought they were not following the rule. If there are boys and girls, please move away. They beheaded them in front of him, they cut off their heads. Excuse me. But things need to be said. One must know who we are fighting with, that Israel's struggle is a struggle between light and darkness. It's very hard to hear. He with his own eyes saw the bodies moving headless. That is something. It's the norm, not exceptional. Basically, the one who does not go according to the path of Islam as they understand it is a heretic, therefore he has to be eliminated. And he experienced that, and he tells it in Israel after having served in the Israeli army. But before this, I'm going to tell you about some stages in his life which are impressive. Listen. He lived in the mosque for about 6.5 years, if I remember correctly. And once he had a shock. What was the shock? Israeli soldiers entered the mosque for a check to see if there were any terrorists. He had heard horrendous things about the Israelis. The Jew is good, horrifying things about the Jews. And he saw sensitive soldiers who got in shape. In Hebrews it says, in a sensitive way, without scaring the students. A soldier, one of them, at least what I remember, looked at him and smiled, said good day, greeted him. Good day, and he was stunned. He didn't understand. He thought Jews, Israelis were demons, and suddenly Israeli soldiers from the Israeli Defense Army. He enters a mosque that he knows in his heart of hearts. What do they say about Jews? And perhaps surely there were terrorists or weapons in that mosque. Probably. And he saw that they were good people, that they treated them well. This was a shock, like God opened his eyes. At one point he decides to escape from this mosque and get to Israel. Remember that he was Israeli. He was born in Lod, in the city of Lod, which is an Israeli city. That there is Arabs in the city of Lod, Israeli citizens in Lod. Now he comes to Israel as an Arab. Obviously, I imagine, like a fugitive, he escapes from Gaza and arrives in Israel. And if I remember correctly, he arrives in the city of Eilat, in the south of Israel, and suddenly, looking for work, he finds Angeles on his way. Jews who, obviously the Arabic accent they probably noticed, and not, he asked, they asked him, are you Arab, are you Jewish? They gave him a job and treated him well, and a Jewish family kind of adopted him, helped him. I don't remember details of the interview. I don't want to say things that are not 100% accurate, but at a climate level. Did he feel stunned? After this Israeli soldier who was so good to him, and then Nilat, such good people who didn't ask him to show his Arab-Jewish identity card. They weren't good, they gave him food, they gave him work. This was a shock to him. He had different stages in his life until he decided to study Torah, and he started to study Torah, the Bible, and suddenly he decided to convert to Judaism. He understood that he was living a life of darkness, obscurantism, and lies. They had filled his head and heart with horrifying things. Of the Jews and Israelis he experienced, on a personal level, everything is the opposite. And I can say it too, I live in Israel, and I know what we want. We want the whole world. We don't want wars. We want to do God's will with great joy, and we want the world to be happy and there to be peace. And let everyone celebrate the Mamlajwu of I am, if it is in Hebrew, the reign of God in this world, that we fulfill our mission in the world, that all nations be happy. Even more than in the times of King Solomon, when the nations came and brought offerings, there was peace in the world, and there was spiritual abundance, material abundance, there was harmony, and more than this, we want the Messiah, the son of David, King David, to come. And one of the signs of the Messiah is when all the people of Israel, God willing, we are in Israel. That is one of the signs that the Messiah is the King Messiah. Melech HaMashiach says in Hebrew that he brings all the exiles to Israel. He has not arrived yet, but God willing, he will come soon and help all the Jews return to Israel. And it is also written that he is a king who fights God's wars so that there may be peace in the world. He fights against the darkness, like what is happening now, which is a struggle between light and goodness, against darkness and evil. It's a global struggle, a struggle of ideas, a struggle of ideas. They say that the wars of Gog and Magog at the end of times, one of the opinions, is that it's a struggle of ideas. Gog and Magog. In Hebrew it is said, Heshinote. Heshinote is like thoughts, a struggle between ideas, thoughts, ideals, and let us know that here there is a very clear struggle of ideals, which is what prevails in the world. If kindness and good, or may God allow us the opposite. So now you have the option, God gives you the option to choose good, choose life. Just like him, this Arab boy who decided for good, because God opened his eyes, gave him the merit of seeing the truth. Thus, you and each one of us have the merit to choose good. Choose for peace, choose for the people of Israel, for the land of Israel, for the state of Israel, for the army of Israel. We only want the world to prosper, for there to be only good things, for us to do tikkun olam, the correction of the world, and to fulfill our mission in the world. We are the people of God who come to illuminate the world with the Torah and with the message that God gives us. To give them to you, to the nations. Obviously, if you are Jewish, you are like me, who comes to give light to the world, and if you are from the nations of the world, you come to give light to the world from your place. Each person has a unique mission and place in life that they must understand. You, as a Jew, if you do God's will, you can reach impressive spiritual levels. And if you are from the nations of the world, you are not a Jew if you become a Hasidu. It's called Mota Olam. You are a righteous among the nations. What does it mean? You are a person who is not Jewish, but you do God's will. You fulfill the 7 laws of Noah, which are very clear and easy to understand. If you do that, you can reach impressive, impressive spiritual levels. There is no need to convert to Judaism. It is not an obligation. Obviously, the neyama in Hebrew is said, neyama soul, the soul that is destined to convert to Judaism, is going to convert. It is a soul destined to convert. But let us know that just as we know Judaism, we are not proselytizers. We do not come to convert anyone. We come to bring light to the world and help each person, whether Jewish or not Jewish, to fulfill their mission, to do God's will in this world with joy, good heart, wanting good, doing good, breaking our selfishness and being altruistic. You will love your neighbor as yourself, doing good, wanting good. May we have the merit that God opens our eyes, opens our hearts, that we choose good, that we want good, and that God gives us the merit to do good, to do His will. From God, our Creator, the Almighty, with much joy and a good heart, many and many blessings, sweet blessings and successes at a material level and at a spiritual level